What's going on, everyone? Talon here, and welcome back to the Character Lab. Alright, so in this episode we're going to be looking at a new hero, and we're going to be looking at Amadeus Cho. Alright, so let's go ahead and get Cho loaded up in here so we can take a look at him. Alright, there we go. So we have Amadeus Cho loaded up here. So his real name is also Amadeus Cho, no surprise there. His height is 5'6" and he weighs 125 pounds, and of course that's not when he is in the Hulk form, that is when he is in his regular child or kid form. And his abilities, Cho is the 7th, or allegedly the 7th smartest person in the Marvel Universe. His mind is that of a supercomputer, or it can function as fast as a supercomputer, able to perform many complex calculations and simulations simultaneously and very rapidly. So he's able to predict outcomes, he's able to control technology via some of the gadgets that he carries with him. So extremely smart individual. And then of course when he transforms into the Hulk, he gets all of the powers that you would expect from Hulk, and that's superhuman strength, incredible durability, endurance, and longevity. Alright, so now that we know a little bit about Cho, let's go ahead and take a look at the stats of my Cho in game. Alright, so here's my Amadeus Cho. So his gears right now are just at 17s, and then he's going to be physical attack. So we have physical attack or all attack. We've got some all defense, some HP here. We have ignore defense to help him out a little bit with the damage. And then his obelisk is nothing special right now. I just have a crit damage with a damage proc on it. Mainly just gave that to him to increase his damage output. And then more importantly for his skills, I definitely have his 5th skill maxed out here because I want to get all of the bonuses. So definitely you're going to want his uniform if you're going to be using him in a lot of game modes, or if you just want to use him more effectively. Mainly just because of this skill right here. I mean, it reduces damage by 35%, increases his attack by 40%, increases defense by 40%, increases his speed by 20%, so it's a huge bonus, and this definitely is very noticeable when you're playing him. And then his ISO 8 set, I just have Smart Raccoon, so again, nothing special here. Definitely he'd be more geared towards a damage or something like drastic density that gives him a shield to help out with his survivability a little bit, because he is a in-your-face kind of character. He does have a good kit for stuns and guard breaks, so for shadowlands that makes him very valuable. And let's see, let's check out his details here. So we have max skill cooldown, which is nice, 38%. We have ignore defense only at 20%, so I could definitely bump that up a little bit. But that's just a quick look at his stats. So now we're going to go ahead and bring him into the first test. Alright, so there we go. We got Shadowlands all loaded up. So let's take a look at Cho on the first floor here, which is going to be a speed rally mode. So let's go ahead and get this going. So we're just going to go ahead and use a pre-made team here, just save a little bit of time. So we're going to go ahead and grab the big 3. We'll get some team up bonuses there, and we'll have Hulk's leadership. And then we'll bring him on in. Alright, so there we go. We got his 5th skill going. So we're going to take a lot less damage, and we're going to pump out a lot more damage. So as you can see, Cho's damage is very nice. He's a nice hard-hitting combat character, especially because of the buff on his 5th skill. And of course that is only with his uniform. So he gets a lot better with the uniform. So we'll just skip on through here. Had to switch there just so he wouldn't die. So there we go. About to finish out this floor here. So he's able to do the speed rally quite easily just because of his damage. Just want to make sure that you don't get kind of webbed up or caught when they're doing iframes, because that can really mess up the your skill rotation, and it can get you in trouble with Cho. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and load up the next floor here. So let's get going. We're going to do the Rumble now. If I can get this thing to play, here we are. So we're going to go ahead and do the Black Widow Rumble mode here. is going to be a little tougher. We're just using Winter Soldier for his leadership only, because we're trying to see if Cho can solo this, so I don't really want any help damage-wise. So let's go ahead and load these two up. Alright, so there we go. You're going to want to take out Gamora first. She's going to be the most annoying out of the group here, just because her bleed damage is pretty insane. So the bleed damage will kill you pretty much immediately if you do not get rid of her. Once you get rid of her, it is a lot easier, but still Agent 13 and Black Widow can cause problems for Cho, just because he does have kind of short animations for some of his attacks, and they have multiple iframes. So it can kind of interrupt your skills quite easily. So as you can see, I'm getting teamed up here, and they're about to take me down, but his damage is really nice, so Cho could probably easily do this stage, of course, if you brought in other combat characters with him. I was just trying to solo it, so I would say by himself it's going to be quite difficult for him, just because he will get killed off pretty easily, just because they're all going to gang up on you, and because of their iframes it makes it a little more difficult to continually attack them and keep them guard broken. Alright, so now let's go ahead and look at him in one more floor. So we're going to go ahead and check out the male hero rally mode. So here we have floor 9 for that, so I'm going to go in here. I'm just going to use another quick team, so we're just going to click on the team up bonuses, then just going to go with all the Hulks here. So we get a lot of team up bonuses here to give him the best damage and best chance of clearing it. Of course, he's not going to have really that much problems here, or at least not that I can see. So there we go. As you can see, he can keep two people locked up pretty well if you get them bunched up, just because his slams that add the stun and can guard break them have quite a bit of area of effect. So let's get through this a little bit. Of course, I have to switch a few times because War Machine can be a little annoying. I don't really remember War Machine having so many stuns and iframes. It seems kind of weird. Every time I play this floor, I'm like, why are my skills getting canceled? I'm like, oh, apparently War Machine has an iframe. And then, oh, why am I stunned? Apparently War Machine has like 2 stuns or something. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, he's still able to do this floor quite easily. So let's just get to the end here. Alright, so there we go. Cho is able to finish it out. Not really much problems there. Of course, I had to switch a few times, but that can be normal. His damage is well high enough, as you can see. It only took him 1 minute and 51 seconds, and that was without me attacking in between switching as well. So this is another easy floor for Cho to clear. You're definitely still going to want to have someone to switch out just in case you get in trouble and get hit, so you can get a little bit of healing. Or if you VIP 0, of course you're not going to be getting any healing, so then you just want to be using your other character to finish the job. But you know, if you play well, he can stun lock the opponents in all of these floors, so you won't really need to switch if you can get his skill rotation down very well and you get lucky to bunch up the enemies. So now let's go ahead and move on to the next test. Alright, so now we got World Boss loaded up, so we're going to go ahead and try out Cho here. And we're going to go with this team. We're going to have all the Hulks. We're going to use She-Hulk's leadership for a little extra damage. And then we got a nice little plethora of team-up bonuses down here. Mostly we're getting some max HP and some defense. We get a little bit of all attack. And then we're just going to go with all just physical attack strikers to get a little more damage in there. So let's go ahead and get this going here. Alright, so you do have to be a little careful when using Cho against Thanos, just because he will debuff you, so you won't always have that damage reduction up. Even if you cast your 5th skill, you may forget that you can get debuffed by him, so you'll wonder why you're dying so fast. It'll be that would be the case there. But Cho's damage is still pretty nice, as you can see. And his survivability is decent, but Thanos does hit kind of hard, so you do have to kind of play a little carefully and kind of time your attacks. So let's skip ahead a little bit here. And don't be afraid to switch. Switching's really going to help when you're using a character that's more of like an up-close, close-range combat character, because you can switch right when you're seeing Thanos do like the lasers, or right when he's about to drop meteors or something like that to save your character. Just like I did there, that laser probably would have, not necessarily one-shotted him, but it probably would have killed me pretty close to. Alright, so putting in some more work here, getting to the last phase. And then gonna do a little more switching so we don't die. Okay, so we're getting pretty close, but we're getting a little low on health as well here. Alright, and here's one thing that I don't really like about World Boss. I don't know if it's the phone I'm playing on or what, but when he started dropping the meteors there, like right when he opened up the portal to start dropping the meteors, I was tapping to switch Hulk, but it just did not switch. It would not register. And that happens to me a lot in World Boss, so I don't really know if it is the device I'm playing on or if other people are having that issue as well, but I find that it happens quite a bit in World Boss that I'll keep hitting the button to switch and they pretty much never do. So I just went ahead and finished it out with regular Hulk here. Cho could have done that. Like I said, if I had managed to switch in time, I'm pretty sure that Cho could have finished out the battle. But you do have to be kind of careful just because of the survivability, because of his close range combat. So that's probably the only downside to using him to world bosses. You have to be really close to the world boss and you can't stun lock them or guard break them, so you're going to be eating their attacks in the face. So you want to make sure that your damage reduction is always up if you can, and of course with Thanos, just be mindful of when he debuffs you. Alright, so now let's go ahead and move on to the next test. Alright, so here we have Alliance Conquest. So we're going to go ahead and just use a Hulk team right here just to show off Cho a little bit so we can see what his starting skill is. And we're going against a nice easy team, so I don't really have to worry about him dying right away or anything like that. So let's go ahead and load this up real fast. Alright, so I'm going to get this going. Let's slow it down a little bit here. So we want to see exactly what happens. Alright, so he's rushing in. And then, as you can see, there's a lot of interference, but he reaches back, punches the ground. You can see kind of the ground break animation there. And then you can see him hop up into the air, and then he does this ground pound. So that is his first skill. So he starts off with his first skill, and then as you can see, as they're all rushing in right there, he does pull back a little bit, so it looks like he does his second skill right after his first skill, which is the one that has a stun on it. So that can be pretty nice. So let's go ahead and move a little bit forward here. Alright, got a lot of stuff going on in the corner over there. Alright, then as you can see, he just finished using his first skill again. And then, yeah, did he just finish? Yeah, he just finished it. And then he went into his second skill. So it looks like he starts with his first skill, and then it looks like he's going to go into his second skill after that. But during this whole fight, he never used his fifth skill, so he won't get the reduced damage. And he doesn't seem to use his fourth skill, which gets him that jump up iframe. So as you can see here, he seems to do like the same pattern. The first skill, and then boom, as you can see, Groot is now stunned into the second skill. And then it looks like, boom, right back into the first skill. So it looks like he just bounces between his first skill and his second skill. So, I mean, that's not necessarily too great, but the only good thing about his first skill is it does seem to guard break enemies pretty easily. So if he does get that hit in right away, like right there, boom, hits the ground. It is a little slow though, so he's not going to be very good in Alliance Conquest overall. just because those are the only two skills that he uses. But if he does survive long enough, then he seems like he can kind of guard break or stun the enemy to help out your other characters in there that are going to be finishing the job, basically. But he would not be a top tier or a recommended Alliance Quest character or hero in my opinion, just because he doesn't use his 5th skill anywhere in his rotation, and he starts with his 1st skill, which would be a lot better if he just even opened with the 2nd skill or opened with the 4th skill, because then you can start off with a stun or start off with the iframe. But as is, I wouldn't really recommend prioritizing him for Alliance Conquest, but he does do good damage, so he's definitely still a useful character if you already have him built up as a secondary Alliance Quest character. Alright, so that was Alliance Quest. So let's go ahead and wrap this up now. Alright, so that was Amadeus Cho. Overall, he is a pretty strong character for Shadowland, definitely. That's going to be his main draw or main appeal, is as a Shadowland character, because he can do really good DPS there in Shadowland, so it can help you to clear pretty high up in the stages. He's going to be good as a secondary character, and he's also good as the main DPS character for any Shadowlands teams that he has the advantage in and can compete in. For World Boss, he does have a little problem there, just because he is such a close quarters character, so he can get smacked around pretty easily from the World Bosses. Of course, his new uniform helps out greatly with the damage reduction in helping him to survive in World Boss, but he's not going to be a easy clear, but he is good as a secondary character if you use him as a team up bonus or something like that. When you switch to him, you can get in some pretty nice DPS, so that's a bonus. And for Alliance Conquest, he's not also going to be a recommended character there as well, just because he's a little weak for Alliance Conquest right now. I mean, if you have a invincibility obelisk on him or something like that, he could be pretty good, just because then he will start getting into a lot of guard breaking, because he does seem to alternate between his 1st and 2nd skill. So he could be useful there, but he's not going to be a recommended, I don't think, for Alliance Conquest as well. So that's going to be my analysis or look at Cho. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Character Lab, and of course I will catch you in the next one.